The sun hung low over my 18-acre ranch, casting long shadows across the dusty ground as I wrestled with a stubborn gate motor, grease smeared up to my elbows. The hum of cicadas filled the air, but it was cut short by the screech of tires. A sleek white Mercedes pulled up, gleaming like it belonged in a showroom, not out here on the edge of Willow Creek. Out stepped a woman who could only be described as a walking HOA manifesto: crisp blazer, severe bob haircut, and a clipboard clutched like a weapon. Her name, I'd later learn, was Victoria Langston, the self-appointed queen of the neighborhood association. She stormed toward me, heels clicking on the gravel, and barked, "Are you Nathan Caldwell?" I straightened, wiping my hands on a rag. "That's me. Can I help you?" Without so much as a hello, she thrust a stapled packet into my chest like it was a court summons. "This is an official notice from the Willow Creek HOA," she snapped. "Your property's been deemed a blight on our community's aesthetic. You have 30 days to vacate and accept our purchase offer. We're expanding the neighborhood trail system." I blinked, caught off guard. "Come again." Her eyes narrowed. "Your 18 acres border our development. This rundown ranch doesn't fit our vision. The board voted unanimously to buy you out $250,000. I couldn't help it. I laughed, a deep, rolling sound that echoed off the barn. "Lady, this land's worth millions. And even if it wasn't, I'm not selling. Been here 20 years. Victoria's face tightened, her voice dropping to a hiss. "You'll regret this, Mr. Caldwell. The HOA has ways of making life difficult." She spun on her heel and marched back to her car, tires kicking up dust as she peeled out. What Victoria didn't know, what she couldn't have possibly fathomed, was that I wasn't just some stubborn rancher with a pickup and a chip on my shoulder. I owned the entire Willow Creek development. Every manicured lawn, every cookie-cutter house, every winding cul-de-sac sat on land I'd leased to a developer 15 years ago. They built their suburban paradise, handed it over to the HOA, but the ground beneath? Still mine. And tucked into that lease was a clause giving me control over mineral rights, easements, and the power to terminate occupancy if the HOA violated zoning agreements. Victoria had just picked a fight with the wrong man, and I was about to unravel her empire, one legal document at a time. 3 days later, just after dawn, a knock came at my door. I opened it to find a county inspector, clipboard in hand, flanked by two guys in reflective vests who looked like they'd rather be anywhere else. "Nathan Caldwell?" the lead asked. I nodded. "We're here for a mandatory inspection. Reports of code violations: tall grass, unsafe fencing, improper machinery storage." I crossed my arms. "Funny, the county hasn't inspected this place since 2012. Who filed these complaints?" He shifted uncomfortably. "Willow Creek HOA. They claim your property's a safety hazard." I didn't stop them, but I pulled out my phone and started recording. They poked around, snapping photos of my barn, my tractor, even the chicken coop. The fence? Brand new, built to county specs last spring. By the time they finished, the lead guy pulled me aside. "Off the record, this stinks. HOAs like this pull this stunt all the time during folks and inspections till they break." I smirked. "They picked the wrong guy." He nodded. "You're clean. Report'll be in the mail." As they drove off, I spotted Victoria's Mercedes parked a block away, half hidden behind a shrub. She was watching through binoculars. I gave her a slow, mocking wave. She sped off. That afternoon, I dug through my safe and pulled out the original land use agreement, signed and notarized. I scanned it and emailed it to my lawyer, Sarah Whitmore, a no-nonsense real estate attorney who'd helped me squash an illegal logging operation on my back pasture years ago. She called within 20 minutes. "Nathan, this is dynamite. The HOA has no idea what they're up against. You still paying taxes on the Willow Creek land?" "Every year," I said. "Then you're untouchable. You're the primary stakeholder. You could tear down their whole subdivision if you wanted." I chuckled. "Not my style. I want them to choke on their own rules." Sarah laughed. "Let's give them plenty of rope." I started documenting everything: photos, videos, timestamp logs. I installed motion sensor cameras along the road and property line, not out of paranoia, but because I knew how people like Victoria operated. 2 nights later, I woke to the acrid smell of smoke, not a house fire, but something chemical. Grabbing a flashlight, I ran outside, boots half-laced. The field behind my barn was smoldering, flames licking at the dry grass. Someone had tossed a flare, military grade, not some gas station sparkler. I called the fire department. They doused it fast and confirmed my suspicions. Arson. My cameras caught a black SUV pulling up at midnight. A hooded figure threw the flare and bolted. The license plate was partially visible, enough for the sheriff to trace. It belonged to Greg Harlan, the HOA's treasurer. They arrested him within 24 hours. A search of his garage turned up more flares, bolt cutters, and a binder labeled Caldwell Property Acquisition. Inside were maps, timelines, and a copy of Victoria's lowball offer, detailing a plan to encourage surrender through escalating pressure. The sheriff called me personally. "Nathan, this is a coordinated conspiracy. If you press charges, we're going after the whole board meeting minutes, financials, everything." I didn't hesitate. "Do it." Within a week, deputies raided the HOA's office, a cramped suite above a coffee shop. They seized hard drives, ledgers, and Victoria's laptop. What they found was worse than I'd imagined. The HOA had been running a slush fund, built on fake fines for things like mailbox heights or patio furniture colors, siphoning money from residents through a dummy landscaping company registered to Victoria's cousin. Every dollar was earmarked for strategic acquisitions, my land. At a town hall in the middle school auditorium, Sheriff Daniels laid it bare. "We've uncovered fraud, coercion, and attempted arson by your HOA board." The crowd gasped. Victoria was absent, but her name was on every document. A woman approached me after, clutching her daughter's hand. "They fined me $900 for a playset." I thought I was alone. I shook my head. "You're not." 5 board members resigned. The county froze the HOA's accounts, and a receiver dug deeper. Sarah called with more. They amended their bylaws illegally last year. No quorum, no vote. That let them collect redevelopment fees. It's enough to void their charter. And there's a Delaware account tied to Victoria, laundering resident payments. The net tightened. One morning, deputies arrested Victoria at her home, still in a silk robe. Greg Harlan and another board member, Ellen Pierce, were picked up the same day. The news exploded. Willow Creek HOA scandal, fraud, arson, forgery. I stayed quiet, but posted a laminated sign by the rec center. "Know your rights. Know your land." A retired contractor, Mike Dawson, showed up at my gate with a folder of blueprints and receipts. The HOA forced shortcuts on the first homestead foundations, weak retaining walls. I refused, so they fired me. Sarah sent his evidence to the county. Inspectors found crumbling walls and sinking homes, all from the HOA's cost-cutting. The receiver issued warnings, and the county hit the HOA with negligence violations. At the final hearing, the judge didn't mince words. This board fabricated violations, laundered money, and endangered lives. There's no community interest here, only fraud. She dissolved the HOA on the spot. A trustee would manage services until residents decided what came next. I hosted a gathering at the ranch tables of potluck dishes, kids chasing dogs, neighbors laughing under string lights. Sarah joined me, handing me a cupcake. "You could take this bigger landowner rights, HOA reform." I shook my head. "I just want my land." She smiled. "You got it." The residents formed a volunteer committee, no fines, no control, just neighbors helping neighbors. I rebuilt my north pasture fence and planted pines along the trail. People stopped to ask about the land's historically Gray Tunkel's hand-built barn, the well that still ran clear. A wooden sign appeared by the trail. "Respect the land, respect each other, or get run off." I added 3 words with my pocket knife. "Never again control." Victoria and her cronies faced trial. Plea deals brought prison time and restitution. A federal probe into a forged grant application using my name to claim I'd donated my land nailed them for wire fraud. Residents rebuilt, holding potlucks, sharing tools, and hosting a festival with a dunk tank and a cardboard Victoria. A teen, Mia, wrote an award-winning essay about the fight, and the county passed the Caldwell Clause, mandating HOA transparency. Fences bloomed in bright colors, gardens sprouted, and porch lights glowed in every hue. Freedom was messy, but it was theirs. As I stood by the trail, the signs were simply, "The land remembered me, so did you."